So Rome wasn't built in a day, but the builders didn't have Claude, right? But we have Claude, we have AI. So we are gonna ship this feature, or we are gonna make this app in this weekend itself. At least that's how we think, or that's how I thought. And then that weekend became a week, and all the things that I shipped during that week, all the code that I produced, everything that I built, I ended up deleting at the end of the month. And that is when I actually wondered, what the heck is going on? Like, if AI is making us faster, why are we working more and more? Everybody, every one of these tech CEOs said AI is gonna give us our time back. In fact, all the engineers, and actually I have myself been in that position a few months back, and I have seen a lot of people being in this position, and I am seeing a lot of people who are in this position where they're working harder than ever and longer than ever. In this video, I want to cover why that is and what is the missing piece in the puzzle. So a few months back, I actually made a tool for myself. It pulls off transcripts for YouTube videos and Instagram posts and TikTok reels and stuff. And it's a part of my content production pipeline. It helps me with my content creation. And it worked, right? It worked. That was the point of it. It did all the jobs it was meant to do. And then my brain had an idea. I wanted to make it public. And that's when the sentence hit me. You know, we have AI now. I can actually do this in the weekend. But once I started, there was always one more thing. And adding those things cost me nothing but just a prompt. So I added support for 5 more platforms, like platforms I didn't even use, and I had zero evidence that people would use it. I even built a landing page, glorified that landing page, built an SEO platform to promote that, and I was handling all these edge cases. I didn't even have any proof that they would end up being edge cases for any of the users. And you know what the interesting part is? None of it felt like procrastination. In fact, all of it felt like absolute progress, like a beast moving forward. And when I finally launched, nobody touched any of those 5 platforms. Not one person. So you see what actually happened? The version of the tool I have today is the same as the version of the tool I had a month back, because I ended up deleting all that bloatware. And it actually hit me after a few weeks that I wasn't being thorough in that development process. I was just burning out on work that nobody had asked me to do, but I was doing it myself. And this is the new engineer burnout. It does not come from hard problems. It comes from the output that we are producing that is never finished. So, why couldn't I stop? Why couldn't you stop? Why cannot everyone stop? What is this madness? I think I have a theory and people are not pinning it up. So back in the day, when there was no AI, when there was even no autocomplete, right? Perfectionism used to be expensive. If you had to be thorough, if you had to be a perfectionist, if you had to, ship complete stuff, you had to, work weekends and days and months and years, right? For example, 5 years ago, if you had to refactor a feature, that would at least take you 1 full weekend. But right now, it takes you 30 seconds, 1 minute, maybe 5 minutes. So you see, there is no actual stopping point. The code that you had to write, decisions that you had to make, all those were a forcing function. And all that costed time. And that cost actually forced you to stop, to slow down. So perfectionism had a built-in break. But when code became cheap, well, that's a statement that I cannot make, because code can never be cheap. Producing code is cheap, but the quality of that code, if it doesn't amount to anything, then that doesn't make sense, right? So what I'm saying is AI actually removed all those breaks. Now, one more pass or one more shipped feature or one more cleaning up of code base is just one more prompt, right? There's no stopping point. There's just loops. And I am not even sure why people are talking about loops now. First we had, prompt engineering, and then we had context engineering, and then we had agentic engineering, and all that made sense. But now we have loops engineering, and all these leaders and even people who I respect on X, they're talking about just building loops and just, stop prompting and stop thinking, and we can just loop and we can just build. And I don't know how we can just build loops which can prompt themselves, and then those prompts will produce outputs, and then those outputs will be written to some files, and then the loops will be writing prompts which will build agents to review that work. And then I don't think any amount of loop engineering or any amount of AI power can just raw dog any reasonable solutions in this world. I just refuse to believe that you can take engineering out of it. That just doesn't make sense. But anyways, coming back to the point, every loop that these people are building, it feels like progress. It feels, a step forward, because we have more number of lines of code, more number of PRs, and although they are a metric to measure the progress, they should not be the only metric. So that's fine. And you already know this. Like, if you are an engineer watching this, you already know what I'm talking about. Like a loop with no exit condition, like a feature list or a task list with no end condition, you can just keep on shipping forever. And I believe that is exactly the workflow all of us are running through all the days of the week. And I think I need to say this directly because engineering is dead, just write prompts. And now prompts are dead, just write loops. All of these people, like that crowd, is getting loud for no reason. I build production systems in my day job. I build my own projects that I want to push out to more and more users on my weekends. I build products for me which don't break, which don't have vulnerabilities, which don't have security issues. And I direct all this through AI. And I am telling you, you just cannot take engineering out of this. The design, the architecture, the decision about what done means, that was never typing. That was always the main part of the job, and the typing has gotten away, but these parts are still here. And sure, like, you don't have to have full knowledge and full information on what you need to build, and you can learn all these things on the way. But if you're telling me that you can build production ready applications and systems and processes and workflows that are used by thousands and millions of people without any engineering knowledge, you can do that. You can't do that. And I'm visiting California for a couple of weeks, and I'm seeing the trend in these big tech companies. And even the companies have, I don't know why they are measuring the progress of, the teams and engineers by the lines of code they produce and by the number of PRs that they put in. Because now AI can produce thousands of lines of code even before lunch, and all of that is meaningless. And worse, it points the wrong way if it is not working code. I don't know why the leadership is rewarding more loops, more PRs, more code, more iterations. Like, all of this number keeps on going up while the engineer goes down. He's burned out because all of this was promised on the premise that if we use AI, we are going to get our time back. We are going to be able to spend our time in more meaningful ways, which is not happening, at least in the tech industry. So, because the loop has no breaks, because the industry is rewarding it, both the engineer burnout and the AI slop fall on each other, which also means that the fix is not a productivity hack. It is a better mental model. Every engineer knows that when you write loop, even before you write the logic for the loop, you have an exit condition. You have a stopping point, because a loop that decides mid-flight if something is done or not can never decide, and that loop runs on forever. So our work with AI needs this exact same thing. And I have broken it down into 3 parts. Number 1, time box. How long does it take to get it done? Not until it feels done, My transcript generator example deserved a weekend, not an entire week, not an entire month. But it kept on dragging itself till, I was convinced, or till it felt perfect, or till, I had nothing to improve on. So yeah, from then on, I just time box the amount I am allowed to work on a particular feature, and then I just get it done. And if it still needs work, I have to revisit my goals and stuff, because there's virtually nothing you can't build in a 3-hour window with the help of these AI tools. So if you're exceeding that window, you gotta revisit your goals, revisit the exit condition of your loop, the time when you stop building. Number 2, harsh acceptance criteria. So what does done actually mean for a particular task, and being specific about it, and also being minimal about it. For example, for my tool, a great acceptance criteria would have been 2 platforms I work on, public, works. That's it. That is good for version 1. And version 2 and version 3 can, ship on additional features, and we can time box them. What you can one shot in a 3-hour session can be great progress. You can make 80% of the progress, but the rest 20% actually takes 80% of the time. Getting it to perfection takes more and more time. Like, it's sort of this curve of diminishing returns, if you may. Point number 3, list edge cases. Decide which edge cases matters the most before you start, because the thing about these models is they will happily chase every rabbit hole that you point them at, which is good, but you don't want to go into those rabbit holes yourself, and you don't want your agents and you don't want your AI to go into those rabbit holes all the time. Only when you want it to go, only when it has to fix something or it has to invent something new. And sure, I want to be clear, this is no productivity advice. This is actually engineering. This is what we've been taught: thinking through problems, having strong guardrails, having constraints, building within something, right? Building within the rules. Like, you can't break, even in physics, you can't break Newton's laws, right? But with AI, we seem to be breaking every law. But yeah, coming back to the point, as I was saying, a great checklist is deciding what you want to build, defining what done means, choosing what the edge cases are, and choosing what the edge cases are not. That was always a part of the job, But now with AI producing these hundreds and thousands of lines of code, all these skills have become even more essential and even more important to include in your day-to-day workflows. AI killed typing, AI killed us writing code, AI killed us learning the syntax, but the actual parts of engineering, like critical thinking bits and the problem solving bits, those are still there, but with the syntax gone, those have become even more important. And like, if you can tell, I didn't learn all of these from any blog post or any YouTube video. I learned it by sort of paying the price myself, and then I built a system around it. Like, I have harness that I've open sourced, and all these learnings that I have while building through AI, I'm pushing in that harness. So feel free to check it out. I'm gonna link it down in the comments below, and I'm gonna continuously keep on working. And if you feel that you can use it, there are thousands of those. That's the one that works for me with my workflows. Feel free to push some issues on it, and then we can work on it together. But yeah, that's a small plug, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.